capes and conundrums. Scout's ominous threat aside, the mansion is already ready by the time they leave the maze test and things begin. Before you three open that door, understand that you will be instantly on the job the moment you do. No breaks, no explanations. You three understand the test, so you're getting no breaks. Of course, El Reno knows. There is no hand-holding needed. There is no reprieve required. Let us charge forward to victory, El Reno declares as he opens the door and rushes in. Rushes right behind one of the main pillars to gateway, with his arm pointed upwards in a pose even as he hides out of sight. Pavel and Robin rush in and hide behind the other pillar, back to back and peering ever so slightly out the sides to watch the mansion. El Reno places a small microphone on the inside of his mask and activates it. Surrounded by the three Batwomen, Yichun Chan, also known as Overwatch, has his communicator go off. "Hello?" he asks. "Put it on broadcast," El Reno whispers. "Dear God, man," he says before placing the communicator down and pressing the broadcast button. "You're live." "Ha ha! El Reno charges forward unseen," El Reno declares before suddenly blurring to the side of the manor and then crouching just beneath the mantle of a window. His timing was perfect as one guard left and he made the sprint before another arrived. Pavel was in a decorative bush between two windows, and Robin had made the most distance and was now clinging to the underside of a balcony. All three men wait, and then, after a few moments, all three suddenly move as they see the guards moving. El Reno hurls himself upwards and grabs onto the edge of the balcony on the next level up and hauls himself there before shifting away to stay out of sight of the patrolling drone guard. "Ha ha! El Reno is uncatchable, invisible, and unstoppable," El Reno announces into his microphone in just such a way it does not sound like whispering, and the three so near surrounding Overwatch struggle to keep themselves from laughing as the man has found a way to keep hamming it up without compromising stealth. With El Reno grabbing so much attention from the girls, all three of them miss the fact that Pavel has slipped inside and is already casing a room to look for clues, and Robin is currently waiting for the rooftop guard to lose focus so he can slip inside from the top. Still grabbing all the attention of the so near, El Reno finally enters the building, flexing his pecs as he does so while following right behind a guard drone that he looms over like a tower. The simple construct turns fast and has two cameras. One is powerful and very much capable of piercing the darkness and is not fooled. But it only acts up if the weaker, light-reliant camera spots something. It has a searchlight pointing forward as it rolls along on its three wheels, and, aside from its patrol path, it will also turn and then sweep an area that its microphones pick something up from. It's a decent security watch bot, but it has no weapons, so it can only raise alarms. It also has precisely zero methods to deal with a silent luchador all but dancing behind it as the masked lunatic is staying thoroughly out of view of both of its cameras. And with great subtlety and grace, El Reno begins his investigations. El Reno announces into his microphone and follows the drone into a side room. Verily, it seems as if there has been an attack of maids in this place. They have stolen all the dust. There is a two-tone chimed from the speakers hidden in the mansion. El Reno, take this seriously or I will find a way to penalize you. El Reno fears not your threat. El Reno only fears leaving others without his heavenly humor. El Reno protests into his microphone. The guard drone completes its sweep of the room and El Reno stays perfectly out of its field of vision. He does strongman poses with every step he takes to emphasize the absurdity. While this debacle was going on, another drone on the top floor had finished its sweep of a room and closes the door behind it before rolling on. Robin silently drops down from the ceiling and finds the door locked, but he has Axiom and understands what he's doing so it doesn't stay locked. And as Robin worked on lockpicking without lockpicks, Pavel had wedged himself into a high corner of a room, well out of sight of the patrolling bots, and casually browsed a small black book he had been lucky to find quickly. Inside is a list of purchases and the stores they were made at. A fair amount of it is construction materials and bright paints. Most disturbing are red sheets spotted with white, indicating that the hatter may be planning on having some fun on top of mushroom. Pavel takes a moment to silently thank that this is all a hypothetical scenario and not actually happening. The paperwork for accidental weapons discharge leading to the death of a captured target is nearly an inch thick. El Reno finds nothing in his thorough search of the first room, but it does not dissuade him as he continues to stalk the guard bot, taking the time to ensure that his mighty muscles are most massively displayed. The next two rooms the silly drone leads him through are also empty of clues. They are unused guest rooms, far from interesting and clearly only kept clean for when visitors arrive. The fourth room, on the other hand, has been repurposed as a storage room for numerous pieces of delicate circuitry and many pieces of leather, felt, and other clothes. The hatter is using this to store his mind control supplies. He also finds a list, because of course an obsessive with media would also be obsessive-compulsive of categorizing his things. El Reno scans the list and takes a picture with his communicator. Knowledge of how much material the hatter has for his mind control hats and how much he has used is invaluable information. There is little more of use in the room. He is tempted to break, steal, or otherwise sabotage the production. But stealth is the name of the game, so he merely waits for the next guard and slips out as they enter, giving them the El Reno salute with his palm resting against the horn of his mask and two fingers pointed upwards as he does so. Meanwhile, Robin had cleared out 4 more rooms and come up with nothing to his frustration, and Pavel has recorded every page of the book he found into his communicator and placed it back where he found it. Haha, El Reno now has found even more of interest, El Reno says into his microphone as the next room he checks has a tea room set up to it. He starts taking pictures, posing in a few of them as selfies, especially if he wants to block out the rest and highlight something, having a bulging bicep point to it for added effect. Still, the tea is not and has not been served. The room is unused and therefore it's merely a place where the hatter will be, not where he is, and there's no telling what kind of damage he'll get up to on the way to this room. And so El Reno charges in flawless stealth away from this chamber, the noble beast hunting to place his sacred ivory into the heart of evil so that the righteous and worthy may be preserved. He monologues into the microphone as his stealth includes a dive clean over a guard drone and then cartwheeling to stand up in a crossed-armed pose to exaggerate his arms even further. The guard drone turns as part of its routine and El Reno stays behind it, shifting from one strongman pose to another and holds the last one as it stops searching for someone and continues on its route. That's when another guard drone rounds a corner and sees nothing but the first guard drone. The robots pause at one another and start beeping to simulate a conversation between guards, neither of them aware that just out of view of their cameras El Reno is flexing his way down the hall and then opening a side door. While that debacle was underway, Pavel found his way into the basement and came across a storage room with a lot of old books and a copy of Alice in Wonderland in hardcover that had been vandalized with a marker. Clearly, the hatter wanted the story to revolve more around himself, and he had been scribbling out words, crossing out things and writing his corrections in the margin. Those all get pictures taken of as well, and they show a rather disturbing plan. Alice is just the beginning. He wants a hare, a cat, a dormouse, and all the other characters, but his first focus is on Alice. Meanwhile, Robin had finally caught a lucky break in that he found a collection of fake IDs and a list of reminders for what they were supposed to be paying for and why. He takes pictures of the information and mentally slots it into potential safe houses and dead drops the Hatter is using. Any one of them could be where the girl is, and there's no telling what other nasty surprises he could have hidden, to say nothing of backup plans. The investigation continues as El Reno finds himself near the central staircase of the mansion. He looks around and then spots something small near the ceiling. Like the graceful beast he is, El Reno soars upwards and grabs the tiny slip of paper before wedging himself between the wall and ceiling. We'll share information. Am clearing second floor. R. Back with Overwatch Dark Scream frowns. That's the note he left? That seems like cheating. Is that cheating? It's about not getting caught and solving the puzzle at the end. There's nothing against cooperation and teamwork. Yi-chun answers. Of course there's a weakness to teamwork as well. If they pool their resources, then just one mistake from any of the three of them could drag all three down. Share victory, share defeat, Shadowflight mutters. Of course, if you trust your teammates, it means the shared victory comes to you that much faster, Yi-chun says as he considers things. They have all the information already. They just need to pool it together or finish their sweeps. It looks like Deathstroke is nearly done first, Ambush Knight says. The least amount of clues are on the top floor. He has them all, so he's just finishing a sweep. The second floor, first floor, and basement are where the juicy bits are, Yi-chun says as the girls watch. So, Darkscreen begins. We just failed to get to the mansion unseen, didn't we? I mean, I snuck around just as much as they did. I stayed completely out of sight the whole time. You did. When you three actually got into the mansion, you did very well, Yi-chun says, even as Robin returns to the central stairwell. He spots El Reno and seems to more flow upwards than to jump. Neither say anything, but instead indicate their respective floors and then gesture left or right, followed by a number of fingers. Then they separate, and El Reno continues his stealthy charge down to the other half of the middle floor of the mansion. Robin, on the other hand, quickly hits each room El Reno found a clue in and takes his own copies. So they're not working together? Shadowflight asks. No, they're sharing information. It is working together, but they're also getting everyone to make sure that nothing was missed. They're going to take a lot longer, but they're going to be thorough. Why is there an indicator flashing? Ambush Knight asks. Oh, there was a hidden time limit. You see, now a new protocol is being entered into the guard drones and a few special ones are being sent out. Elite guards are now out in force. There were elite guards? Darkscream asks. Not for you three. They only come out if 20 minutes pass and the alarm doesn't go off. They represent the danger of a guard shift changing and more alert soldiers being out and about. So those ones have more powerful cameras, run silently, and don't give away their positions with the searchlights. So things just went from hard to very hard. Thankfully, these ones don't set up the alarm, but they do kick up a fuss and direct the other ones. I see. Is there harder? In another 20, we have an agent, an actual person with a locator beacon that tells the drones they're friendly. Enter the mansion and start hunting them. A normal person with no patrol routes, no limits, and while they won't set off the alarm, they can and will attack the test takers. And at the hour mark, Shadowflight asks, the lights turn on, everywhere and all at once, so most of the hiding places will be gone. Of Karus. By then, most people will have either passed or failed already. What would you call it if we were to start the test with the lights on, the elite drones and the hunter all in place? Shadowflight asks. Level 5. Not for civilians. Yi-chun answers with a grin.